your wrist cocks, lifting arms, a turn. Now we've been talking about 3 options how you can influence your angle of attack. First of all, I want to explain that there is a difference that if you swing the club in an inside swing plane, it doesn't necessarily mean you're coming flat towards the ball. This is what a lot of people get mixed up with. Or if you're coming from the outside, that you're steep at the same time. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that. Mostly it is, but it doesn't have to be like that. So let's get it started. First of all, let's talk about the swing plane. So if you would address the ball and if you would draw a line through your shaft and in your club is disappearing to the backside, to the inside, behind you, then the club is in the inside swing plane. If it's also coming back towards the ball from the inside, if it's not on the right direction onto the ball, if it's coming from the inside, then you have an inside swing plane. So what most people actually do, they actually take away the club to the inside, and then because it's too tight back there, they're throwing or they're turning first, and then the club is going forward, and all of a sudden the club is outside the ball, so you're approaching the ball from the outside swing plane. So those 2 swing planes you can have, and of course you can also have a neutral swing plane, so that means you're approaching the ball pretty much in a straight angle, in a straight direction. So this is kind of neutral. Okay, but I don't want to get too much into the swing planes because there you can talk about a whole day. So today I want to talk more about the levers, how you actually approach the ball in steepness and flatness. You have 3 main parts. You have your wrist cocks, this way and this way. Then you have lifting arms, and then you have a turn. Those are the 3 main movements in your swing. So of course, every of those movements has its own job to do. So if you think about it, let's start with the little ones, with the wrists. If you do this, what's happening with the club? Of course, it's getting steeper. You know, I mean, I can see that on my TrackMan. If I have my arms on my body and I just move my wrists, I'm just really knocking down onto the ball. Of course, the angle of attack with minus 8.6, that means 8 degrees or almost 9 degrees from up, hitting down onto the ball, into the minus, into the negative. That means it's really, really steep. And all I did, I just moved my wrists, right? So the wrists, you can actually say, if you move it the right way, they're responsible for a steeper angle of attack. Then you have another movement, the arm lift. You know, if I don't turn, if I keep my hands still, and if I'm just lifting my arms and I let the club drop down to the ball. So guess what is gonna happen? Let's see if I can do that. I'm just lifting up the club, up and down, and I didn't do anything with my hands. And of course, I have a minus, so I have a really, really steep angle of attack, but just by lifting up my arms and down. So if you're struggling with a too flat angle of attack, if you're not getting into your minus, into your ball ground system, you have the option of thinking about your wrists and, of course, your arm lift. Maybe your arms are traveling way too far back. And of course, from back here, you don't have the same lever as if you would be coming from up here, right? So now, of course, we have the third one, the turn. So of course, if you think about it, the turn, you know, it doesn't matter what way you do. I mean, here you can see that the angle of attack is not really steep. And of course, if you turn, the angle of attack, it was actually a good catch, is not as steep as with the other 2s, with the wrist cocks and of course the arm lift. So this should be an eye-opener for you guys, because a lot of people they just want to turn the whole time, but they completely forget that there are a few other things you need to, or you can activate to strike the ball better. It's your hands and of course your arms. And yeah, of course, I mean, I have to mention as well, you know, if you think about it, I'm just going to show it from here. this is only the truth if the left hand is in front of the right hand. You know, if you set your wrist and all of a sudden you start spooning, then of course your angle of attack won't be as steep, of course, either. Okay, so now we've been talking about 3 options how you can influence your angle of attack: wrist, arm lift, and turn. And do yourself a favor, talk to your pro, what of those movements you can do more or you should do less to strike the ball better. But I'm a big fan of really thinking where my arms are, what my hands are doing, and if I'm not turning too much or too little. All right, guys, I hope this helped you a little bit, got you to the next level of thinking about your golf swing. Now, I wish you, of course, as always, good luck and have fun practicing.